perhaps the only thing less resilient than the bones of a 7-week-old is the public's tolerance when someone is accused of child abuse. Brooke Bornhurst and Will Mead learned that right away.
I should be sterilized. We should have our bones broken the same way we broke our children's. It's just horrible.
Here are the top stories we're following for you.
Even as their mugshots were splashed on television, social media lit up, calling for the couple to be tortured, executed, a reaction reflective of the ghastly charges against them.
A broken left clavicle, right broken clavicle as well. 8th right posterior rib, her tibia, her fibia, and her other tibia.
Aggravated child abuse, 9 broken bones.
We got the results back of the x-rays, and your daughter had multiple fractures. And like right then, that's when the whole world just fell. And we wanted help. No one helped us.
The State Department of Children and Families took an equally harsh stance. Before the couple even bonded out of jail, they had filed a petition to take all 3 of their children.
Because when they said multiple fractures, it kind of felt like you hit a wall. Yeah. You're just breathless. You're like, oh, what happened?
Brooke admits she even doubted Will.
I kind of looked at him and I said, well, what did you do? I had that moment.
You just don't know what to believe. What happened, how it happened, what is this? Then you think, well, it's got to be child abuse. Has to be.
The state reached the same conclusion as Brooke's dad. Because the family could offer no explanation for the girl's many fractures, child abuse seemed the only explanation.
I was one of those people. I did prejudge them.
Lynn Salvatore is a Jacksonville child dependency lawyer with 30 years experience, including work for DCF. What she's learned in this case has caused her to revisit everything she thought she knew.
Wait a minute. Maybe we've been wrong.
Brooke has since been diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a genetic disorder linked to bone fragility and increasingly used to defend families accused of horrific child abuse.
So I have doctors telling me that my baby has multiple fractures. I've got police telling me that my husband did it.
They charged me with second-degree felony.
I was in pure shock.
I was absolutely blown away.
We did not abuse our children.
We were completely in shock.
Spent thousands of dollars trying to do in vitro.
I was still recovering from my C-section.
Why would I turn around and beat him up? So it didn't make any sense.
Not everyone believes Ehlers-Danlos syndrome explains multiple fractures in children. Many in the child protection field dismiss them as wild claims that you only hear in court. But experts in metabolic bone disease say child protection experts haven't kept up with the science.
They just simply see lots of fractures. They've been taught lots of fractures. It is obviously child abuse, end of story.
Boston University Medical Center researcher Dr. Michael Hollick is a world-renowned expert in Ehlers-Danlos. He testified at Brooke and Will's trial.
For me, that case was pretty cut and dry. That infant could easily have had all those fractures simply because of the underlying 2 metabolic bone diseases, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and vitamin D deficiency rickets.
He and 2 other experts convinced the judge, who in September dismissed the case, allowing the family to reunite immediately without any future supervision from the state.
Why is everyone so quick to say, all these people would be more likely to abuse their child and break their bones? That's a more likely scenario. To me, it makes much more sense that there's a medical condition that caused that.
You have to always err on the side of protecting the child.
Dr. Vandana Bide is an internist and pediatrician at Mayo Clinic who handles cases of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Because it can and has been mistaken for child abuse, she says, the correct diagnosis is critical.
The consequences are so significant. You can't allow an infant who's abused to go back to the family, but at the same time, you can't remove an infant who is not being abused. Both are incredibly traumatizing.
And the trauma doesn't necessarily end with the case. Even though this family has been restored, they say some of their wounds will never heal.
It's a hell of a lot to unprogram, if you want to call it that.
We lost 476 days with our babies at home.